is we can close our SCL. And do I still have function blocks open? And I don't want that. Let's close that too. And I'm just going to close everything while I'm on it. I'm on a roll, right? Okay, so HOA STL, and we're going to want IO STL as well because we're going to be working with that. So let's go into our HOA STL, and what do we want to do? Well, the first thing we want to do is we want to check and see if our HOA value is outside of the range of 0 to 2. So let's start off. We're going to L to load, and we're going to start working with our oil pump first. So load our oil pump VFD HOA, and now we're going to load 0, and now we're going to say less than I. Then we're going to JC, and we're going to jump conditionally to set oil pump VFD HOA 0, ZERO. So that's a big funky name, but that's what we're going to call it. That's where we're going to jump to if somehow that HOA value is set to less than 0. And I'm going to copy that, come down here, and I'm going to paste that in with a colon, and I'm going to start with L0 to load a 0 into my register, and then I'm going to transfer that 0 to my oil pump VFD HOA value, and then I'm going to BE to block end. Okay, so I'm just kind of jumping around a little bit, but this will kind of make sense once I get a little bit more structure in here. Okay, so let's pretend that our oil pump VFD HOA is indeed less than 0. Then we're going to jump over here and we're going to set it to 0. But let's assume that it's not less than 0. Then we want to check and see if it's greater than 2. So let's clear out our register, and then let's load our oil pump VFD HOA one more time. Once that's loaded, we also want to load the value of 2 in our second register, and then we want to check and see if it's greater than. So a greater than I, which means is oil pump VFD HOA greater than 2? And if it is, then we want to jump conditionally to, and that's our set oil pump VFD HOA 0. Okay, done. Now, next evaluation is we want to see if somebody is pushing one of these buttons. So we might also jump to 0 if somebody's pushing a button. So now let's clear our register, and now we're going to and we're going to check load that push button. So oil pump VFD off push button, and then we want to check and see if we've got a front positive edge. Well, this is going to be our rising trigger or our one shot. So we're going to say FP, and we need to give this a storage bit. So we'll just take our OS1, hit enter, and we know that that bit doesn't exist yet, so we're going to define that. That's going to be local static bool. And if this is the first scan that we've seen that off bit for, then we're going to put that into memory, and we also could check and see if we're already at 0, but I'm really not going to worry about that, so I'm just going to go ahead and do the jump. So let's say jump C, set oil pump VFD HOA to 0. Okay, so now we've got 3 different conditions which will send us to set this thing equal to 0. Now let's start looking for the other push buttons. So clear out our memory, and now we want to and we want to pull up our oil pump VFD off push button. Okay, so if that's being pushed, and then we want to FP to see if this is the first time that we've seen that. That's a one shot. And we'll store this as OS2. Right click, define it, local static bool. So if someone's pushing the off button, oh, not the off button, actually now we're looking for the hand button. So if somebody's pushing the hand button and this is the first scan, then we're going to jump conditionally to, and let's copy this name, Control V, and instead of 0, it's going to be 1. Okay, so set oil pump VFD HOA 1. Good. Big messy name, but it tells you what it is. And I'm going to copy this whole section down here, and I'm going to paste it in twice. And we're going to be setting this thing to 0. We're going to be setting it to 1, and we're going to be setting it to 2. And I'm just going to change these names a little bit. So let's select this 0 portion here and type a 1 there, and select this 0 portion down here and type a 2 in there. Okay, so we've got places to jump to, and if somebody is just pushing the hand button, then we want to go ahead and jump to set 1. Otherwise, let's clear out our register, and we're going to say and if somebody is pressing the auto push button, and let's look for OS, and this is going to be OS3, enter. Let's right click on that. We need to define that tag, local static, done, and then we're going to JC2, set it to 2. Okay. Whoa, that's not JP, that should be JC. And let's pretend we come down here and we haven't made any of these jumps. In that case, we're going to jump unconditionally, JU, to end of line. And I need to come down here and create that end of line, and then we're just going to put a BE instruction. Okay, so no matter what we do, we've got everything under control, and I think we've got this section done. Let's see, if the HOA is less than 0, set it to 0. If the HOA is greater than 2, set it to 0. Now, clear out, and if somebody's pushing the off button, and it's if it's the front positive, it's a one shot, then set it to 0. If somebody's pushing the hand for the first time, then we want to set it to 1, clear, and if someone's pushing the auto push button on the first scan, set it to 2. Otherwise, if none of those things are true, jump straight to the end. And instead of having a jump to the end and an end, I could just put a BE there and block end, but I always like to set it up this way in case I need to expand on the logic sometime. But anyway, our 0 loads a 0 and transfers it to the HOA, loads a 1, transfers it. Good. I think everything's cricket there. I like it. From here, the next 3 should be pretty simple. We just need to copy this, paste it, and instead of these block ends, we are going to actually be jumping into the next label of this. So this one being the first one of our 4 devices, we're not going to give it a label, but coming down to the next one, we're going to go ahead and give that something. So we will call that break because that's the device that we're going to do next. And just to be really a little bit sloppy here, but to get ahead of myself, I'm going to also set up an alarm horn label, and I'm going to create my station interlock. Okay, and those are red right now because we don't have commands after the colons, and remember, a label needs a command after the colon. Not a problem. We're going to fix that real shortly. So let's copy all of this that we've got right here, Control C, come down here, and I'm just going to paste that in, and we're going to get tons of errors, of course, for 100 different reasons, which we're going to start sorting out. The first reason that we're getting these errors is because we've got these labels still don't have commands on the same lines. So we're going to come through here and just backspace those up to where they're supposed to be. And where's my third one? Here we go. So that's the first part. The second part is we've got a lot of redundant names. So we're going to have to get rid of all of that. I'm going to copy the word break, and I'm going to come down here, and this is going to be set break 0, set break 1, and set break 2. That solved that. And just to get rid of the error, I'm going to change that to say end of line 2. But we know we're not going to leave that end of line there. So same thing for the alarm horn. We're just going to paste that in to alarm horn HOA 0. And coming back up here, I think I might have pasted one of those things kind of wonky. Let's see. On my break, yeah, I've got set O break 0. So let's change that to set break. And I want to write HOA in there. That's kind of a nitpicky detail, but I do want my stuff to be at least halfway consistent. Even though this isn't a real project, there's still people watching, and I still have a little bit of pride about what I'm doing, so bear with me while I correct all that little nitpicky stuff. Now, where did I go? Alright, there it is. We've got our alarm horn. And we already pasted that one place. Let's get the rest. So alarm horn HOA to 1, and set the alarm horn HOA to 2. We'll call that end of line 3. Let's copy that station interlock, and same treatment right here. Station interlock 3. And come on, copy it. Got it. Control V. One more of these. And you know, as much as this looks like, wow, most of what you're doing through this these lectures just seems to be copy and paste operations. Well, you know what? That's that's what programming is. It's a lot of copy and pasting, and just it's less sitting there and typing code out from start to finish than really just kind of engineering text on your screen to get the job done. So now we need to work on these block ends. So instead of block ends or jumping to this end of line, we're going to get rid of that end of line and just delete that right out of there. And now we're going to jump. Now, come on, don't jump around on me. Here we go. We're going to jump to break. So let's copy that. And here we go. We've got a jump unconditional to break. And I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to put that here instead of these block ends. So now we're going to jump to the next section because we want to evaluate that every time, okay? So we've got this end of line. We're going to get rid of that. Come down here, and same thing. Instead of jumping to end of line or having block ends, we're going to jump to alarm horn and copy that. and use that to replace our block ends. Come down to the bottom of alarm horn. Now we're going to be jumping unconditionally to station interlock. Let's copy that whole command. And there we go. Jump unconditional, jump unconditional, jump unconditional. We don't need that end of line. And I think I might have forgotten to delete out an end of line up here. Did I? Let's see. No, it looks like I got the rest of them. And at the end of station interlock, now we really do want to jump to an end of line, because there isn't anything else that's coming after station interlock. So now we do have block end, block end, block end, end of line, block end. And at this point, I think I've got all the structure for this program in. All my labels are where they should be. My jumps are where they should be. So let's go back and let's get the tags set up. Our oil pump tags should all be right. So starting with the brake, let's go through here and start getting these set up. So we want our brake HOA to be evaluated here and here. And we want to be setting it here, here, and here. And okay, here we're looking for going to the set 0. So set brake HOA 0. We're also jumping to set brake HOA 0 here. That's our exception handling if our HOA gets out of range. And here we're looking for our off push button for the brake. And where is that guy? That is right here. Here we're looking for our hand push button. So right there. Here we're looking for our auto push button. Got it. And this one needs to set brake HOA to 0, set brake HOA to 1, and set brake HOA to 2. And looks like we've got the brake done. Let's jump down to alarm horn. And we're looking for the alarm horn HOA. Copy that. Paste it into 1, 2, 3, 4 different places. And here we're jumping to set alarm horn HOA to 0. Set alarm horn HOA to 0. Set alarm horn HOA to 0. Set it equal to 1. And set it equal to 2. Where is that guy? Right there. And alright, now we've just got to work our push buttons. And we need our, whoops, that should be our alarm horn off push button. This is going to be our alarm horn hand push button. Alarm horn auto push button. And is that it? Did I get all of those? Yes, I think I did. And we're going to have to go back and do our one-shots also. So that's one more thing we're going to have to update. Let's work on our station interlock. So we've got station int HOA. Copy that. And there's an HOA 2, 3, and 4. Now let's work on our jumps. Set station HOA. Where is that? There we go. Interlock to 2. And let's find the set to 1. We need the set to 0. And I think that's bottom of our list. Yep, sure enough. We need another set to 0. And we need one more set to 0. Alright, let's tackle push buttons. So our off push button, our hand push button, and our auto push button. Okay, does everything in here say station interlock now? I'm looking, and okay, I kind of think it does. Now let's come up here. We've got 3 one-shots in each of these. I've got OS 1, 2, and 3 there. So we need 4, 5, 6 there, 7, 8, oh, if I can select it, and 9 there, and we need 10, 11, and 12 there. All right, so let's drop this down and insert row, add row, and let's just see if I can copy those and paste them. So copy. No, it doesn't let me do that. What about inserting multiple rows? Nope, doesn't let me do that. What about adding multiple rows? Nope, it doesn't let me do this. Man, I tell you what, this program is straight up hateful about some things, isn't it? I gotta say. All right, so OS 4, OS 5, OS 6, OS 7, OS 8, OS 9, OS 10, OS 11, and I need one more, and might as well just put it anywhere. And that's going to be my OS 12. Okay, so all of those are static bools just like it was supposed to be. And at this point, yeah, I think we've got every single bit of this done. It's not to say that I didn't skip some little piece of this somewhere, and if so, well, maybe we'll find it when we're testing and maybe we won't. So considering that that's done, let's go over here to our I/O and let's actually manage these outputs a little bit better than we are. So now we can let's just be simple and let's just delete all of this stuff right out of there, because we know we're not going to use like any of that. So what do we want to do coming in here? Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to give this some structure. So right here, I'm going to put a label here, and I'm going to call this analog outputs, colon, and actually rather than putting that tag up there, since I don't have an instruction to go with it, I'm going to put that instruction right here and backspace and put that call on that block. Okay, so now we've got a place to call our analog outputs, and I need to do the same thing here, analog inputs, and put a colon there. All right, so now we've got a little bit of structure down below where we're going to be working here. So for our digital outputs, let's start evaluating and figure out when we need to energize these things. So the first thing we want to look at is we want to turn this thing off if we're in off mode. So let's start with a load, and we're going to look at our oil pump VFD HOA, and then we're going to load a 0, and then we're going to ask, are those two equal? So equals I. So we're going to see if those two things are equal. If they are equal, we're going to JC2 run oil pump VFD. And we don't have that label set yet, so run oil pump VFD colon, and now is where we can go ahead and set that guy equal to 1. So I'm going to type S, and then we're going to look for our oil pump output. And where is it? Here's our energized output right there. Okay, and then let's block end to get out of that. And I've got, rather than run, I think I'm going to call that set, because that's really what I'm doing in here. So set oil pump VFD, copy. So copy and paste that there. Okay, and just like I have a set, I want to have a reset. So let's copy this, paste it down here, rename it to reset, and instead of an S, we're going to have an R. Alright, so now we have one place that sets it, we have another place that resets it. So back up here, we've got our conditional jump into there if we happen to be in off mode. What if we're in hand mode? So we're going to clear, then let's load our HOA. We're also going to load 1, and then we're going to see if those two things are equal with equal I, and then we're going to jump conditionally to set oil pump VFD as well. Okay, and you know what? Actually, that first one should jump to reset, not set, right? Duh. So, okay, reset, and then this one is going to jump to set. Got it. Now we can clear out. So then we have two more conditions to look at, both for auto mode, and that is whether we have energized the control bit or we have not energized the control bit. So the first thing we want to do is load, and we're going to load our HOA. And man, where is it? There it is. So let's load the HOA. We're going to load the value of 2, and we're going to see if it's equal. And if it is equal to 2, then we are going to jump conditionally, and we're going to jump to a place called Auto Oil Pump VFD. And once we get there, we'll have some additional handling for that. So we'll put that label right here with a colon. And the first thing we're going to want to do when we get there is we're going to say and we're going to look at the control bit and see what state that control bit's in. So we're going to and on the control bit right there. So once we've determined we've got that control bit loaded, then we are going to either set our output or we're going to reset our output. So right here we're going to we've already loaded the control bit, so if the control bit is true, then we want to jump conditionally to set. And if we got here and the control bit is not set, then we automatically know that it should go to reset. So we don't even have to do any further evaluation. We can just do an unconditional jump and go straight in there to reset. And we could put a block end under here, but at that point it's not necessary because we've already jumped out one way or the other. So there we go. So is that everything? I think we've got a complete control set up for this oil pump. So let's see here. When we come in, our HOA, if it's equal to 0, then we're going to jump down here to the reset, and we're going to kill it by resetting that bit and ending. Good. Otherwise, we're going to clear, and if the HOA is equal to 1, then we're going to go to set oil pump VFD, because in hand mode we should be running. And then assuming that we don't do that, we're going to clear, and then we're going to load the HOA, and we're going to load 2. And if it's equal to 2, then we've got to go to this auto right here. And while we're in this auto, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to load the control bit. And if the control bit is true, we're going to set. And if the control bit is untrue, then we're going to reset. And either way, we're going to go to one of these and we're going to block end. So, okay, I think we've got everything for the oil pump. Now, we just need to do all the same stuff for the other 3 devices. And that means that basically these block ends are not going to work. So we need to get rid of those block ends, and we need to put something else in here. So now we're going to jump to, and we're going to have a section called break. So we will jump to break. Control C, come down here, also jump to break. And here is where we're going to have our break label. And I'm going to copy all of this and paste that in right here after break. Okay, and let's backspace and get that on the same line. And it looks like whenever I pasted that, because I duplicated all of these names, that's why all of a sudden I'm spitting out a bunch of errors and everything's going crazy. That's not a problem. So let's just come down here and rename stuff. So this is going to be auto break. This is going to be set break. And this is going to be reset break. Now that cleaned everything up quite a bit, didn't it? So first thing we want to do now is we want to load our break HOA. And I want to copy that, Control C, and I want to paste it here, here, and I think those are the only places I need to paste that. Okay, so then we want to jump to reset break. So let's copy my reset break and paste that right here, and copy set break and come up here, paste it there, and we've got this auto O break. We don't want that, so let's copy auto break, and we're going to paste that right here. Okay, so now we're looking for our break HOA, loading it, seeing if it's equal to 0, jumping to reset, seeing if it's equal to 1, jumping to set, seeing if it's equal to 2, jumping to auto. Once we're in auto, we are looking for the control bit for the break. So break control. And then we are jumping conditionally to our set right here. Otherwise, we are jumping unconditionally to our reset. And the outputs that we're going to be setting are our breakout. So we've got to set the breakout and we've got to reset the breakout. Okay, and then instead of jumping to break, we're going to jump to alarm horn. Let's copy, paste it there, come down here, paste it, and once again give ourselves a colon because that's going to be a label. And let's copy all of this and go through the same routine. So let's back that up so that it's on the same line. And instead of auto break, this is going to be auto alarm horn. And I'm just going to copy the expression alarm horn right out from there. And I'm going to paste that over the break. Man, it's still jumping around and doing all kinds of screwy stuff. Oh, that just messes me up. I lose where I'm at. Oh, I can't stand it. Okay, so where on earth are we? Here's our alarm horn, and that's where we want to be. So set alarm horn, reset alarm horn. And same thing here. We want to just paste alarm horn over those brakes and over that auto as well. Okay, so what are we loading here? We're loading alarm horn HOA. Copy that, paste it, and here, it keeps jumping. Okay, for set alarm horn, that's going to override set brake. And reset alarm horn is going to override reset brake. And now we need to come down here and replace our control bits. And then we need to see set alarm horn. That's going to be our alarm horn out, and that is going to be our alarm horn out. Alright, let's take a look at this. Jumping into alarm horn, loading the HOA, jumping to reset, loading the HOA, jumping to set, loading the HOA, jumping to auto. We've got auto, set, and reset. Auto conditionally jumps to set and then defaults to reset. And yep, everything is good. So the next thing is we need one more jump, and that's going to be to station interlock. And let's copy that, paste it, come down here, paste it, give it a colon, copy all of our logic one last time, paste it in, and back that up so that it's on the same line. And I'm going to copy the expression station interlock and paste that over these labels here. And one last time on the reset. And same thing for these jumps. Reset station interlock, set station interlock, auto station interlock. Okay, so now we want to load the station HOA, copy that, paste it in here, paste it in here, and that should be reset station interlock. Okay, and that should be set station interlock. Alright, that part looks good. Let's come down here. We want the station interlock control bit, and then we want the station interlock output. And let me give this one more look through and make sure everything looks right. I think it does. Yes, everything looks good. So now, when we come down here, these jumps are not going to go to station interlock anymore. Now those jumps are going to go to analog outputs. So Control C, analog outputs, analog outputs. Okay. I can back that up a little bit. I'll still give it an extra space in there so it's not super bunched up. And once we get to analog outputs, we call, come down here to analog inputs, call. Everything's fine, and we do not have any block ends anywhere in this logic. But that's okay, they're not necessary. And this thing does have to flow all the way through, and I think what we've got here does.